Hey guys, welcome back. I'm glad you could join us. This is the Drinking on the Fly podcast. My camera's a little funky, so we're going to let that go. But my buddy Kyle Ludwig from Ludwig Outdoors is with me. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's been time flies.
I tell you what, last time we were together on the pilot episode, we got such good reviews, we decided to do another one. You were drinking Buffalo Trace. Are you still enjoying that?
I sure am. Yep, got another glass.
I am flipping over. I'm going to be drinking Union Jack IPA. I have not had this beer in probably 4 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't gamble, and the last time I drank this was when my wife had her high school reunion at the casino.
Oh, gotcha.
So it has been that long since I've had this beer. So this is kind of a drinking on the fly kind of beer.
I
You
don't
know,
think I've had that one. Is that it's
it's
IPA
it's
or?
a I mean it's not a new beer by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not always found. Everybody I've talked to, it's always a solid. Like if you see it, you know that it's something. Live TV, folks. We got to cut that. I'm guessing. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Why did I do that?
They fall off the
Oh my
tripod.
gosh, this is killing me. I got to figure out how to edit that.
What is that?
Oh,
The
that's awful.
what camera
Okay,
is that?
so Union Jack, it's a decent beer. I like I said, I haven't tried it in 4 years. But we're gonna try it out. Solid IPA. Oh,
Nice.
exciting news. I talked to a guy the other day, and you may be able to go to Perennial Brewing Company there in St. Louis and pick us up some beer to try.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, we apparently have a hookup now at Perennial.
Oh wow. How'd you
And
do that?
I know Public House has been really good to me in the past, so I'm hoping as winter sets in, we can enjoy a Giddy Goat together.
Okay,
That
nice.
is my favorite coffee beer. Um,
I
but
don't think
drinking
I've
on the
had.
fly is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about beers and bourbons and whiskeys, and we're going to tie a fly. And today I've got a fly for you. We're going to do the hopper to go with the dropper.
All right, what are you twisting up?
I'm going to use a size 2 MS. It's a size 2 big game MS from Fly Tires Dungeon. This is one of the new hooks he's had. He sent me some to test because he's just a great guy. And we're going to tie a River Road Creations hopper on it. I've
Okay,
already
nice.
cut out all the materials. The materials are 2-inch craft foam for the body and the legs. And then you can buy a 1-inch craft foam from Fly Tires Dungeon and then a wing foam. And so the wing foam and the 1 millimeter foam are from him. Everything else I bought at a craft store, just a big sheet of craft foam. And then I use the 2 millimeter craft foam from the stores when I make the Moorish hopper as well. But I'm going to go ahead and get the camera set up, and I'm going to let you watch me tie this, and I hope I don't mess it up too bad.
Yeah. All right, sweet.
All right, so I think my microphone's out of the way. I think we've got this set up all right. I am using a Wright bobbin. Justin Wright has been on my podcast, Kayak Flyer, multiple times, just like you have. Oh, I've got to find my cheaters. I know you wear glasses, but do you have to wear special glasses to tie flies?
No, I haven't had that issue yet.
I have
Um,
to wear a really high power, and then as I'm tying, if I look at anything else, I get just drunk as all get out from everything else being blurry.
yeah, I
So
mean
I'm using it's the big fly. Let me get the actual name of it here.
that's a size two.
This is it's the Big Fly by Uni. 400 denier, black, made in Germany, 80 yards. This is what I tie my streamers with is this thread. Everything in that big 400 denier because I like to really get after it, and I know that I have a tendency to break thread. We talked last time about nano silk. I'm afraid nano silk would cut the foam.
Yeah,
I
I got
have
a
no
little.
logical reason to believe that, but I do.
Well, it will cut the foam if you use a small diameter thread. Like if I use 12-aught on your foam and you cinch down on it, I've had it a bunch of times just cut it in half.
Yeah,
But
and
if I
that's
use
why
6-aught, it doesn't.
I prefer these big heavy threads. And so this is a body that you cut from the River Road Creations, and you cut two of these and you lay them right up here beside the head. And now there are ways where you can take a bodkin and put in here and you can put wraps around the back. What I have found, I like to come all the way to the back of the hook where this fly is going to sit, which I think is about right here before it starts to slide down this hook. Yeah. This hook has a little bit more of a bend in it. You can use whatever hook you want. But if you take this and you wrap it, because it's two pieces of body, you can actually pull this tight and then you can wrap underneath and in between and make body segments. And
Nice.
some hooks are a lot better for that. This is a shorter hook, so I'm not going to do it. Um, but again, this was one of the hooks from FTD that he said to mess with and to try. And the mad scientist and Tony are good friends, so they like it when I get to do things together with their stuff. So then I'm gonna take, and I use Gorilla Glue. I know a lot of guys use Zap-A-Gap. I've never figured out exactly the difference.
Yeah, I don't like Zap-A-Gap. I use Gorilla Glue as well. I got that over here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have nothing against Zap-A-Gap. I've never used it. It just costs a lot more, and I don't know why. So
Well,
I'm
my
just gonna
lid.
put some Gorilla Glue on the inside of that, and I'm just gonna push those two together around the hook. And trust me, I've tied this fly a lot. And on the show, I'm probably have to put up a video on the channel of me tying this without me being under the constrictions of time. But if you pull that apart and you go in between the two, then you can come back up and seal it. And then I'm going to come up here. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use, big surprise, big surprise, I'm going to use bug legs from Fly Tires Dungeon. Um, Did I ever tell you about how apprehensive I was about Fly Tires Dungeon?
No, I don't think so.
I kept looking online and I kept hearing about Fly Tires Dungeon, and I went to their website. I would say I went to their website at least 20 times. And I'm like, this is a ripoff. It's too cheap. You can't make a product like that at this cost. And had the podcast going, and took a little bit of the money from the podcast, which I shouldn't have done because they don't make any money on it anyway. And thought, well, I'm going to try it. And so I bought the freshwater streamer box for $40. That was 4 years ago or 3 years ago. As long as the podcast is old, I'm still tying out of that box. EP fiber. If you like EP fiber or anything like that, the Congo hair, the big game hair, Rick from Oasis Benches, I got one of his Oasis dubbing brush benches, and we're going to tie a fly with that before long. You can make dubbing brushes. How much you get? 5 dubbing brushes of EP fiber for what, $9 or $10? You can make dubbing brushes in any color you want and probably make 60 of them if you buy the stuff from Fly Tires Dungeon. So if I sound like a fanboy, I am. Um, and I can't. You can buy that also from, if you don't want to go to Fly Tires Dungeon, you can buy it from Dooley's at Dooley's Fly Shop. Say or Dooley's Fly Fishing. Say 15% promo code kayak. Now all I did was I tied a knot in that, like you'd tie a knot in a lot of things, and then I'm going to lay it, and I'm going to do my side first, and I'm going to put that knot just behind it, behind where I'm wrapping the thread. And then I'm going to cut this front leg off. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to tie an overhand knot. And these bug legs are so cheap, you don't care if you use a whole one. I mean, trust me. Mike Merle says he's the frugal fly rodder. The frugal fly rodder has nothing on me buying stuff from Fly Tires Dungeon. And so then on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take that back leg and right where that knot is right underneath my finger, and I'm just going to wrap it. And I'm really lucky I've got the computer set up here so I know what I'm doing. But roll that to where it's pointed down like a regular grasshopper leg, and then you can come in with your scissors and just trim that off to length, bing, and then take your front leg and trim it off to length, bing. Now, I forgot to tie in the back legs. Dude, you let me forget to tie in the back legs.
I'm in the zone. I'm just listening. And
I'm sitting here talking
honestly,
like I know
even
what I'm
notice.
doing. But you know what? It's like Bob Ross. We're just going to take and peel that back where we put that super glue in, and we're going to run it down in between those two pieces of body foam. That's what we're going to do. And we're just going to run it right down there, and we're going to wrap it off. We're going to throw in the back legs. I forgot to do this. I get so excited on these shows. So right here where we tie it in at the back, we're just going to take these legs that are, and you guys can see them right here where I tie it in. That's a leg. That's cut out of foam too. And you just lay it on there and tie it in.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. Because those are hard to cut out by hand. Those legs.
Yes, and you
like
know
you
the
got.
amazing thing, and this is the thing about, and I get so upset, especially with grasshoppers. I get so upset about this and frogs. Everybody's worried about the color, but that fish is only going to see that silhouette underwater. So as
Yeah, they're
long
not.
as you can have any thread wraps up here you want to, I've caught fish on horrible looking flies because they're only going to see the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not
And
going to see
I've
the
got
top.
a,
Yeah.
when we do the STP frog, I've got a air gun, an airbrush that I would love to share with people that is absolutely amazing. So next I'm going to take this, it's the wing cutter and it's the foam from River Road Creations. Just going to wrap that around. And then I used the 1mm. I used the 1mm cutter, or excuse me, the 1mm foam to cut the carapace, but you fold it over and you cut it, and you do two at one time. And then you lay it down and you lay the carapace down on top of that and wrap it good. And then you just whip finish, and you can add eyes with your Sharpie. Talk a lot about using Sharpies, but you just take your whip finish and finish off that carapace. And I'm using, I like Loon, everything but the bobbins. I use right bobbins, but all the other Loon tools, and you can find a use for your Loon bobbin. I know you can,
Oh, I love them.
especially with streamers.
Yeah.
I know you like Loon.
I got a right
But
bobbin
yeah,
too.
that's gonna be my grasshopper. It's gonna be a nice little grasshopper. Here, I'll pull it out and take it closer to the camera. It's a nice little grasshopper. You can get a great silhouette underneath it. You've got a little bit of a wing on top in case they're picky, and tying this one on one side and just looking at the computer on the other side, that turned out really well.
Yeah, looks good.
And if you take a few minutes to practice this, I don't think you'll be sad, and I think you'll be as successful as I've been. This has been a great producer for me. So, I'm going to move my camera back, and then we'll see what you're going to tie. All right, Kyle. So let's see what you've got for us today.
All right. Yeah. So I actually got it's a beetle. The fish might look at it as a hopper.
I fished that beetle.
Yeah. Yeah. This is very similar to the one you got.
Yeah. When we were talking the other day about me having a hard time getting a bite, and I flipped to a hopper dropper, which is what inspired this, I was using your beetle, and I hooked up on your beetle.
Sweet. Yeah, I love them. And I tie them. Typically, I'll tie them in size 12 or an 8. This one's an 8. This is a little bigger.
You gave me a small one because I was using my one weight fly rod from Bajuco Flats Flyco.
Okay.
My custom built one weight rod that was sub $150. Beautiful rod. And
Nice.
I was started catching panfish, and I was catching smallmouth bass on the dropper and on the beetle, and I was catching perch on both of those as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The beetle goes a long way. I think it's one of the more underrated flies. A lot of people, I don't know, for some reason they don't fish them a whole lot, but there's beetles everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're always
Especially
in the
this
water.
time of year.
Yeah, this time of year, and yeah, if you just watch the water for a little bit, you're going to see beetles. They're dropping out of trees everywhere.
Is it just me? Is the beetle like the woolly bugger of dry flies, of terrestrials?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll hit a
Not as
beetle because the
popular,
beetle pattern looks like a big ant. It looks like a big
yeah,
wasp. It looks like a smaller hopper. I mean, it looks
it
like a
can imitate
spider.
anything. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like a woolly bugger can imitate almost anything
Yeah,
in the water. Yeah, I would say a beetle could imitate it can imitate a grasshopper, a beetle,
a caddis.
a large caddis fluttering on top of the water. Yeah, it can imitate all kinds of stuff. So
It's
I,
really an ideal topwater bug in foam flies,
yeah, man,
in my opinion.
I agree, and they're quick to tie up most of the time. There's not much to it, and you'll see here in a minute. I added a couple things, or one thing really, to this one. This is more for my visual than the fish, because the fish aren't going to see the top of the fly. But yeah, so what I started off with here, it's a Firehole 419, size 8, and then I'm using GSP. I know we just talked about this with yours, but I'm using 6/0 thread with this GSP, and you'll see when I tie in my phone, I make sure it's really flat first.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't cut it. I've noticed.
A flat wax thread or a flatten out your GSP on the foam works really well.
Yeah, I'm using a GSP for the whole fly.
Right.
Yeah, but I just make sure it's flattened out. So I do use wax though, and you'll notice I'll wax it periodically throughout, especially when you go into the foam because it grips it.
So what is you mentioned this on the last episode, I didn't ask. I have the regular dubbing wax, like I've had it for so long, it just looks like a lipstick container.
Yeah,
Are you
I got
using
that
a
too.
special wax for your?
Yeah, so this wax is it's a hard wax, and it's actually called GSP wax.
Okay.
I don't know, honestly, I don't know what type of wax it is. Besides, it's a hard wax, not gooey or anything. Simplify sells it. I got this. Actually, Nick sells it. Nick Dooley's.
Dooley's Fly Fishing say
Fishing,
50% promo code kayak, and that supports this show as well. Should we get a new promo code for this show?
We could. That'd be cool.
Or we'll just support it through the Kayak Flyer podcast. We're running it through the Kayak Flyer LLC, so we'll just keep it all together.
Yeah, for now. Why not? Yeah, and so yeah, and I use for my legs. I'm not go over this again, but I'm using Life Flex material.
Life legs.
Life Flex.
Life Flex.
Yeah, it's a
And
cool,
by
it's
Hairline?
very stretchy. Huh?
Did that say? Is that who makes that?
Hairline.
Yeah.
This is a Hairline product, and they come in all kinds of colors. I'm just pulling mine out. There we go.
Well, we'll call Fly Tires Dungeon. Have you do a tie off one episode with their legs versus those.
I haven't used their legs yet, but yeah. Sorry, here I'm gonna. It's such a long piece. I don't need all that material, so I actually cut it down. You can make you could probably make 4 flies out of this one strand.
But I bet it doesn't cost 58 cents for a bundle.
No, I don't think so. No, this would cost, I think Life Flex, I think it's like $3 or something or more.
Yeah, you need to try the Fly Tires Dungeon stuff there. And guess who's a Fly Tires Dungeon dealer?
Yeah, Nick
Dooley at Dooley Fly Fishing.
I've had my eye on a few things in there from Fly Tires Dungeon. Just wait
until October 2nd when we're up there and we let the
Yeah.
fans know, or the I shouldn't say fans. We should let the viewers know if they want to join us. But we'll hook you up. I'll make a phone call and get you hooked up.
Oop. Actually, I gotta restart this. Here, hold on.
FTD is thinking about sponsoring the show. By the way,
Well, then I definitely got to get some of their stuff. All right.
you know
So
you know that Ludwig Outdoors is the way to look at your social media and your Instagram. When you tell people, "Hey, Kyle Ludwig is going to help me with the show," and they say, "Oh, well, I've listened to your show, but if he's going to be there, what can I give you?"
gotcha. Give me everything. No.
And if you guys are not on Instagram and following Ludwig Outdoors, you're missing out. His flies are beautiful. That was the whole point of this show was how beautiful his flies are.
Yeah, and we'll go over different. I'll go over different flies. We'll tie all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
I
We'll
know I had a
probably have
lot
to
of
have like
requests.
one episode dedicated to you tying one fly and another episode dedicated to me tying like 13 flies.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them take a while,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, this beetle here. This is the addition I was talking about. So I added tinsel. This is going to go on top of the back. You'll see, but the fish isn't going to see this. But this is just an additional indicator for me, if you will, see it in the water because if the light hits
The
it, you can see it.
the ones you sent me had white, and
That white, yeah,
at a certain distance they got hard to see.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
was kind
So
of wishing it would be fine. And I didn't have a Sharpie, or I would have marked one up, fluorescent orange. I know a lot of us like to tie a white indicator because we
yeah,
think it's more natural. The fish aren't going to see it. They're not going to distinguish the color anyway. Especially freshwater fish.
yeah. No, they're not
Warm
seeing it.
water freshwater fish aren't going to distinguish the color. So don't be afraid to throw an indicator on there that you can see.
Yeah, I've actually changed mine. It basically it's gonna be like a green, like a neon green, or
Hmm.
orange, or a pink, or something like that. Like today, I'm using a green, like a neon craft foam. It's green, but that's what I'm using here. This is just craft foam. It's 2 millimeter. It's in black. Um,
Now, do you cut that into strips? And if so, one of the things when I first started tying foam flies that bothered me was I couldn't find a way to cut those strips straight. Are you
yeah.
worried about having variation in width?
So I measure them out old school with a ruler. I can't remember the width of this though, but I mark it on the ruler with my, and then I just cut it with scissors. So I know exactly where it on the ruler to cut each time, and then I'll actually let me see if I can. So here's kind of an example. Here's a piece of foam that actually this foam came from, and what I'll do is I'll measure it out, and then I'll mark it here. I'll show you here as an example. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. There's three little dots. There you go. Kind of see
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So I'll mark that down the strip. It's a long way to do it. There's probably a faster way if I got some sort of cutter. I just don't have that.
Yeah.
So I'll mark it down each way. I'll do a bunch of them at once. So I got a bin and I just throw all of them in there. And then I'll just cut it with regular scissors. And no, they're not completely straight. There's
Right.
going to be some that are a little bit off because
But
I am cutting it freehand.
are you worried about that though?
No, like in the like fishing it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Are you worried about tying that fly and it not being completely straight?
Mm-mm. No, it'll be fine because it's not that far off. It's if I cut it and it's that far off, like there's a big curve in it or something, I'll just discard it.
Yeah.
But I
Because
mean, this
I
one's
mean,
pretty
I
straight.
really think that a lot of us fly tires, and I think beginner fly tires get really discouraged
Yeah,
because
and it's
everything
not
doesn't look
perfect.
perfect. And that's one of the reasons with this show is we're having a drink and talking about fly tying. And just like my hopper, it wasn't perfect, but it'll catch fish.
Oh yeah, yeah. They don't have to be perfect. Like you'll see flies they look like you said, you don't want to fish them. I've seen
Yeah.
people, and though they may not even catch fish. It could be the uglier ones that catch all the fish. Usually it
Yep.
happens that way. But
Yeah.
it's a good way to practice technique and stuff. But yeah, don't be a perfectionist because I'm not worried about it. If it's a little off, it's just off.
Yep.
So no big
And
deal.
one of the funny things is through the Kayak Flyer podcast, I've met a lot of really traditional fly tyers, a lot of the new and up and comers like you. And what's so funny is when they're talking about their newest book,
Yeah,
I had to tie this fly 16 times
yeah,
because it looked perfect at this step, but it didn't look perfect at that step. And I'm not I'm not saying anything bad about these guys. They're trying to show you the best fly that can be made.
right,
But you have to understand, especially if you're a beginner and the old school guys, they get it. You know, you get it. I get
right,
it. If it's not perfect, it's still going to catch a fish. So hang in
right.
there
Yeah.
if you're a new fly tyer, hang in there, fish it. You're still going to catch fish with it.
Yep. Don't throw away your junk flies, if you
Yep.
will. Keep those and fish them just like you would any other fly.
Are you
'Cause
putting dubbing on now?
yeah. So the same dubbing actually used for the last fly, the caddis larva, but I used barely any of it. For the head, it's just a hairline, um, hare's ear black dubbing. Very buggy stuff. I love it for beetle, the underbody of a beetle.
I'm thinking about buying a black rabbit.
A black rabbit,
Yeah.
like a hare's mask,
No, like actually going to the county fair and buying a black rabbit.
like a live rabbit.
Well, they taste great.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, yeah, rabbit is not bad. I've had rabbit. Yeah,
And then I can shave it.
yeah. I mean, you got a point. Why not?
All my squirrels running around my neighborhood look like they have the mange from where I've caught them in a trap and shaved them and let them go.
That would be funny if you seen a naked squirrel running around. Make
We
sure you do
can't
it.
say naked.
Oh, we can't do that
Our
either.
Patreon will not allow us to have images of nudity or references of nakedness in full description.
It's a squirrel. Okay, I get it. Let's not use that then.
Mom, Dad, there are naked squirrels everywhere.
And I'm just trimming this. You don't have to trim that. It's just a habit of mine. It kind of gets in the way of my foam a little bit, but yeah, I kind of dub it up. You can make it as thick as you want, really. Don't make it too thick, obviously. Otherwise, the foam they'll sit really weird. But
Okay,
I
you have
come up.
taken so long on this fly, I'm cracking another beer.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Sorry. Yeah, I'm
This
not
is
in
a
a rush.
Lagunitas IPA. Everybody's had this if they like IPA, so I'm not going to go into description on it.
Yeah, here's where I'll tie down the first part of this, or second really part of this foam. I flatten out my thread, and
Can you explain to people
wax
how to do that? Which
flatten
way
out the
you
thread.
spin it? Because some people get confused on which way to spin it, and then maybe it spins too far and it wraps back. Can you explain a
Yeah,
little bit about flattening thread?
yeah. So flattening the thread out. A lot of times it'll cord up. People's probably seen that, and it's tough. So to flatten it out, you spin it counterclockwise. Your bobbin. So you just spin it, and you'll know that you can see it. It'll actually start flattening out until a certain point, and then it'll actually start cording back up again.
Right.
But if you just let it go, it'll actually start spinning back again. So what I do is I'll spin it counterclockwise for a second, and I'll stop it, and I'll take this is my whip finish, and I just take the bottom of it. It's just like a little piece of metal there. It's not sharp or nothing, and I just grab my thread and I just pull it, and it's nice and flat. I mean, you can't get much flatter than that, so I'm not going to spin it anymore. Then I already waxed it, so I just put a little wax on it. And then this is where I'm going to tie down my foam. So I tie down right about here. It's flat. It's pull down. I do 1, 2, I mean, maybe three wraps on that right there. Now I take my tinsel, and like I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. Like if this tinsel is off to the side a little bit, it's not a big deal. The fish aren't seeing this.
Yeah.
So you just pull it up, and just tie in the tinsel right there, and it kind of splits the back, if you will. If you can kind of see that.
Speaking of fish not seeing it, what do you think about ears on mice?
I don't know. Yeah, they're not going to see the ears,
Yeah,
unless the mouse flips over up in the water. But I don't think they're really worried about the ears
yeah.
at that point. But it looks cool. I mean, it looks cool. A deer hair mouse with the little ears on it. It
Mm-hmm.
does look cool. But yeah, for fishing purposes, it's not going to matter.
Yeah,
I've never caught a fish on a mouse. I've tried a few times, haven't done it yet. But I've had some strikes on them.
yeah.
And the Moorish mouse,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one I usually threw. I actually made one time with rabbit, and
Master Splinter is supposed to be one of the best mice.
yeah, I didn't
And
like tossing it. It was so
there's
heavy.
stuff on there that I look at this pattern and I'm like, why are you tying that extra stuff in there?
Yeah, yeah. The Moorish mouse is real simple. It's literally foam and deer hair
Yeah,
and a rabbit strip for the tail. You
yeah,
just cut off all the hair, really.
yeah. The
Um,
Master Splinter is all rabbit hair. The
yeah.
rabbit hair zonker tail and the rabbit hair
The
for the
one thing I didn't
body.
like about that was when I was because I fish with a 6 weight,
Mm-hmm.
and it can handle it, but it's just the rabbit soaks up all that water, and it's really hard to cast it for some reason. I
Well,
don't
if
know.
you flip over to arc fly line, you won't have a problem.
Yeah, and that could be it too. There's a lot of variables, but I haven't done the rabbit one in a while, and actually, maybe later tonight, I might try to toss a mouse around. Actually,
Well,
but
we may get Arc may come on. Travis from Arc may come on. He may help us out with this show. So we've got to be nice to him. But his fly lines on my six. And then, granted, I'm a better caster than you are.
yeah, I'm not very good at casting. I'm still learning. I literally just learned how to double haul. So,
Oh, you're better than me. I still can't double haul.
oh, yeah, I literally just learned. Like I've been practicing. Okay, so a little background. I've only been fly fishing for 3 years.
How many?
Um, Three. So I'm still learning a lot of the casting stuff.
Yeah, I've been
So
fly fishing for 26 years.
yeah, okay, yeah. I started. Okay, so actually, Halloween will be my tying anniversary for 3 years.
Now, were you
So
more attracted to the fishing or to the tying?
at first, it was well the fishing because I loved how there's I don't know, it was just a different way of fishing. And
Yep.
I grew up bass fisherman, so I would toss bait casters, spin rods, and it was a whole different way of fishing. And I had a cousin let me borrow a fly rod for a summer, and I got hooked on it. I couldn't cast it worth nothing, I could barely cast the thing. And, I was trying my best, but mostly catching bluegill and stuff. And I loved it. But then I instantly got into tying at the same time, basically. So I really started fly fishing and fly tying at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people start fly fishing, they don't tie for years
Yep.
or ever. The other way around too. I've seen people start tying before they even fly fish.
It was about 5 years after fly fishing, and my fly fishing was a love hate experience
Mm-hmm.
because I would fly fish and I would catch perch and smallmouth bass constantly. But then I thought I had to trout fish and I couldn't
Yeah,
catch a damn thing.
yeah.
And so then I took a fly tying class at the Career and Technology Center here. They had an evening fly tying class just for, I think it was like $100, and you got basically $100 worth of materials.
Okay.
And the guy only taught trout flies,
Oh, he
and it
didn't teach
was
me anything
miserable.
else. Yeah, you can
And
fish for
so,
anything on a fly rod, and that's the other thing that drew me to it too, because I always thought um, fly fishing was for trout and
yeah, and
salmon,
it's not.
you know, and it's 100% not that way. You can literally fish for marlin on a fly rod if you want. I've seen videos of it,
Well,
but yeah,
I had a
bass are awesome.
podcast guest that will take you on a charter in Puerto Rico and let you fly fish for marlin.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Um,
we need to go down there one day.
yeah, where's that at? Florida?
No, in Puerto Rico.
Oh, Puerto Rico. Sorry.
Yeah, Pablo from Bajuco Flats Fly Company that I mentioned a while ago that made my one weight, and then
Okay.
Jorge Martez. I think Martez is his last name. They're friends with a guy named, we pronounce it Angel. It's Angel down there. But he works on a charter boat and he takes people fly fishing for marlin.
Yeah, that's insane. I can only
Yeah,
imagine catching. I can
quarter
imagine
mile
catching it. Yeah.
off the coast of Puerto Rico is 600 feet deep.
Wow.
And you can catch billfish all day long. So
Hmm.
we need to do that one day.
That would be sweet. Yeah, I've never
And
fished the salt, so I never, like I said, I've only been fly fishing for 3 years, so I've only caught trout, local fish, bass, bluegill. I caught a gar on a fly. That was awesome.
I've not caught a gar. I've fished for them. I haven't targeted them though. I've fished around them.
Yeah, and it was weird. I caught him on. I went out wanting to catch a gar, but I didn't really have a gar fly on.
Yeah.
Traditionally gar fly, bait fish and stuff. I started that way, then I switched it up and I put like a patch rubber leg on, and that's what I caught it on.
On a patch rubber leg?
Yeah, yeah. Believe it or not, I don't know. I don't think he knew what it was that he was eating.
Yeah.
Because the river I was fishing is pretty murky, and so I don't think he knew what it was. He's just seen something in the water and he just launched at it. So, but yeah, it was a fun fight. That was for sure.
Gar and carp are the new targets in the fly fishing industry. Those are the ones that
I haven't got a carp yet.
I haven't either, but that's what everybody's after. So you just cutting off your foam there now that you got it wrapped back around the head and turned in?
Yeah. I probably should explain the head part there, but
it's all right. There will be accompanying videos with each of these shows here on Drinking on the Fly on the YouTube channel and the Facebook. You guys can move over to the YouTube channel and check it out.
Yeah, so I'm just tying off the head there, and now I'm going to tie in the other indicator. I got the tinsel on there, and this is just a green piece of foam, 2 millimeter, and I stick it there, cut it off. And you don't have to tie your beetles with the head, like the head style I just did there.
My wife is vacuuming upstairs, and I can hear her. I hope it's not coming over the audio.
Yeah, I can't hear it.
You keep going. I don't think it's picking up on the microphone, but I just want listeners at home to know that my wife is vacuuming.
Yeah, well, I got like 3 kids upstairs running around with their heads chopped off, so you can't hear that, can you?
I'm older than you, so my kids know how to, they can't be shooting water guns in the house anymore.
Right. Then, so I got my indicator on there. I cut it pretty small. You can see that green in that tinsel will shine a little bit better on the water. So like the one you had like white, it's hard to see sometimes. I think this I found is a little bit better. And then I tie in the indicator before my legs. So my legs go in, tie in one side at a time, trying to get them straight. Put a wrap in there. Get the other side.
Now, the pros of a rotary vise, if you weren't doing this for the show, you would rotate that over to your side and look at it.
Yeah, I'll rotate it around, take a look at it, put it back. Yeah.
And so as we do the show, we hope some of you guys understand we're like with my fly, I was trying to keep some things towards the camera, but at home, you can move your vise.
Yes, move it around a lot. I move mine around all the time. I've only been tying on a rotary for not even a year. I got this like a week before Christmas last year, this vise. So I was tying on an old, it came in a Cabela's like starter kit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I tied on that for,
yeah. When I took that class, a $9 vise was included.
Yeah, it was probably something like that because I got a bunch of tools with it. Heck, this is the tool. This is the whip finish that came with it. I still use that one.
It took me forever to learn how to use a whip finishing tool, and I'm not afraid to say it. There's a video on the Kayak Flyer podcast of my daughter showing me how to use a whip finishing tool.
Nice. It took me. I actually practiced. I actually took a hook because I was getting frustrated. I just put a hook in the vise and I just started practicing. like use
Well,
that.
have you ever whip finished and you have a thread on the outside
Like
where
it
the
got
thread
tangled up.
isn't the lateral thread isn't buried? Al
Yeah,
Beatty, Al Beatty, we did a fly tying video and it's on Kayak Flyer. And Beatty explained why you whip finish to the back. And he did it to the front, and you have this thread. And if that thread's gone, the whole whip finish is gone. But if you whip
yeah.
finish the other way, that thread stays on the inside. It was really, really neat.
Yeah, I whip finish, yeah, from the front to the back.
Yeah, front to back.
Yeah. Yeah, if
And
you go
some
the
of
other
us will
way,
whip
don't work.
finish. A lot of people just whip finish. They won't pay attention which way they're going. So if you go back to front, like
Yeah.
you want to lock it in here and you go to the forward, that
Mm-hmm.
one thread, if it breaks, it blows your whip finish.
Yeah, I've had them come apart. And actually, I'll do a 5-turn whip finish.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that's it. It's all you really need. You don't really need that. You can do it 3, but a habit, I'll usually do a 5 and then I'll do a 3. I have no idea why. So if you see me do that a lot, that's just a habit. There's no like
On
technical
streamers,
reason.
I do like a 20 whip finish because I'm building that up as I go back.
Yeah, I'll do a 5 and then I'll do a 3. Sometimes I'll just do 3, but I seal it with. You'll see. I'm going to use Solaris Bone Dry on this to seal everything up. But yeah, I just whip finish that off. So I just got to cut the legs. They're super long. Now you can cut these to however you like it. You can keep them really long like this if you want. Ain't gonna matter
Now,
a whole
do you
lot.
tie a knot to splay them front and back?
Nope, no knots. You can. I just tied them in the gap of the
Okay,
head between the head and the body.
right.
And if you don't have the gap between the body and the head like far enough, the legs will splay weird, and then a knot would come in handy. But as with practice,
Yep.
you'll be able to get that gap in there, and then they'll splay out just the way you want them. That's
And
just
we'll
more
have a
fun.
close up video for you guys on our channel of each of these flies.
Yeah,
I'm assuming I will have one for each one of mine. I'm assuming Kyle will too.
yeah. I'll put a video up of both these flies. Yeah, there he is. And now what I do is since there's a lot of thread stuff there, I'll just use bone dry. You can use head cement. You don't have to use UV.
Next episode, I want to discuss loon versus bone dry or versus solar res. Next episode.
Okay. Yeah, I've never
So,
used Loon, so I can't really
and I've
chime in on
never used
Loon.
solar res.
You never used Solaris. Okay.
So I think that'll be a good conversation to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I like bone dry quite a bit so far since I've used it. And watch out for the light here. I do use the Loon Light though, because I really like that.
I use a giant light that I got off Amazon for
Holy
$9.
cow, that looks like a flashlight.
It
Like a
is.
legit
It's
flashlight.
huge.
Like you're
Now it
going
eats
camping.
batteries. It eats batteries, but man, does it do the job?
Yeah, I bet it does. Probably light up your whole room. Um, Yeah, I like the rechargeable ones. The Loon one's rechargeable. Solaris has one too that recharge. They make a bunch of them, but yeah, I love it. I don't have to buy batteries for it. Just charge it up. It's a little expensive, but
And they're about $50, I think.
yeah, I think this one. I think it retails at like 60, but you can find it on sale a lot for 50.
Yeah, everything's on sale. Guys,
Yeah.
Kyle,
Well,
I
there's
really
yours.
love your hopper, quote unquote, your foam fly for the hopper dropper setup. I
Yeah.
think any of our viewers are going to have great success in late summer, early fall with this setup.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Whether
you
you're
can't go wrong
fishing
with
for
a good.
trout or whether you're fishing for panfish, smallmouth bass, Kentucky bass, warmouth. It depends on where you're at, what they're called. Largies will probably tear it up a little bit if you get a big ditch pickle, just
Yep.
because they're generally a little bit bigger. But if you're fishing on anything from a 4 weight to a 1 weight, either one of these patterns will be great, especially in those hot August days when nothing's biting. You can go out and catch on a 1 to a 4 weight a lot
Yep.
of fun with panfish. And I think that's what it's all about.
Yep. Just having fun. You
Like,
know.
catching a
Don't take-
tarpon's great on a 12 weight, but have you ever tried catching 8-inch sunfish on a 1 weight? You know, it's
Right.
there's
Feels the same.
yeah, it's about being respectful to the size of the fish you're catching and being respectful to because you don't want to catch a giant smallmouth, an 18-inch smallmouth on a 2-weight fly rod.
Right.
That's not ethical.
No,
But
it's gonna take forever to get
panfish
them in. Yeah.
and 8-inch warmouth or Kentucky bass, whatever you want to call them, or ditch pickles, some of those, a small weight rod, man, you can have a really good time. And this hopper dropper setup is going to be great for trout that are going to
Yep.
normally take smaller, and it's going to be great in those hot summer days. So
Yep. Here's the dropper, and there's the size difference there. So look at that. So here's the 14 and an 8.
Catch a variety of different fish on that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
this is a great setup for anything. Bluegill, trout and bluegill, bass even. Bass will hit the beetle. Now I don't know the caddis larva. I'm sure smaller bass will eat the caddis.
I've had a smallie hit a rainbow warrior in size 16.
You did say that, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's no predicting that, they'll eat anything really. I mean, if it looks like food or they don't like the way something looks, they're going to snatch at it. So,
yep. Folks, thanks for watching us. Like and subscribe. Please share. We're going to change some stuff with some of our cameras. Next episode, I get to pick. I picked Topper Dropper, but I get to pick the next 2 episodes, and I'm picking streamer and articulated streamer.
Oh man, you're killing me. Articulated streamers? Okay.
And you get to pick the next 2 episodes after that.
Okay.
So you can throw me into World of Hurt.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I've only tied like 1 articulated streamer, maybe 2.
Oh yeah, you're screwed, dude.
Yeah, so I got all the stuff. Well, not all of it, maybe most of it. I have all the shanks and stuff. I just haven't really gotten into it. But
well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna record when these drop. This episode should be out by the time we're at Dooley's.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll record the streamer episode before that.
Okay.
The loser has to buy a 6-pack at Dooley's.
All right, deal. Who gets to vote on this?
I do.
You do. Okay, gotcha. So I'm buying you a 6-pack. Got it.
Well, we can wait and have the audience decide. And if you guys like the show, like I said, we've got we're running some sponsorships from Kayak Flyer Podcast, Stonefly Nets. We want to mention them. If you want to comment, like, and share, and tell us a pattern you would like to see or a type of fly you would like to see, suggestions for the show, whatever you think, share the show, and we will be picking out people that live in America. I made this mistake on the podcast. I had to mail a leader to the Ukraine. Do you know how hard it is to mail something to the Ukraine?
I've never tried, but I can imagine it's not the easiest.
They don't even use the same alphabet we do. So that was, yeah. But if you live in the continental United States, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Alaska, you live in a USPS mailing area, like, comment, give us an idea, give us something nice. If you say something ugly, we're not going to put your name in, but give us something nice. We'll do a random number generator, and I will mail you a cutthroat furrowed leader for free.
Sweet.
So, buddy, streamers.
All right, I better get the practice in, huh?
Well, I'm not telling you what I'm doing, but I will tell you I'm using my Oasis dubbing table from Rick at Oasis.
Okay.
At oasisbenches.com. I'm using my dubbing table.
I've got some brushes already up there, up in my cabinets here, so I'll have to bust those out.
Well, I'm going to bring this table up to Dooley's, and I'm going to let you. I'm going to film you tying some brushes for our channel here. But yeah. So next time it'll be streamers, guys, because they're getting ready to feed. They're going to be hopped up hot and heavy here in the freshwater, the warm water, freshwater. So, any last words, Kyle Ludwig Outdoors?
Yeah. No. Well, thanks for tuning in, and see you guys next time.